I just got a video from a viewer who asked me to talk about the following problem. If you have a function like y equals 10 to the x plus x minus 4, then what's the derivative of this function with respect to x? So there are two principles here. Number one, you could just memorize a rule. But instead of that, I'm going to show you where the rule comes from and then tell you the rule. So principle number one is whenever you have the sum of terms in a function, then you just take the derivative of each term individually, and then you add or subtract them back together. That's all you have to do to figure out what the derivative of the addition and subtraction of terms is. So that's principle one. We don't have to worry about this last part, which is pretty obvious about what the derivative of that is. The derivative of x minus 4 is simply 1. Okay? So we don't have to worry about that. I think really what this viewer is interested in is answering the question, what if we just had this first part? Since this isn't something that's very common to most of us, if you just had y equals 10 to the x, what would the derivative of that be? So let's tackle that part. Now there's a rule. Now rather than tell you the rule, let me derive the rule for you real quickly and show you where it comes from. Suppose we had no idea. Here's how you could take the derivative of an unfamiliar function like this. It's easier to think about taking the natural log of both sides in a way, and then figure out what the derivative is. So suppose our function was just y equals 10 to the x. Let's take the natural log of both sides. Natural log of y equals x times the natural log of 10. Now, if we take the derivative of this function with respect to x, what we're going to get is something like this. Kind of the total differential. I don't know. I'm not good with terms. I'm just good at doing these things. Here's what you're going to end up with if you do this. The derivative of the natural log of a function is 1 over the x. So derivative of the natural log of y is 1 over y. And then we have this. Here, let me erase this and move it over here so we're not. I want you to make sure we can see here. 1 over y dy dx equals, now the derivative of the right-hand side is simply the natural log of 10, because that's a constant. So this is like 3x, or x times 3. Well, the derivative of that is just the 3. So in this case, it's the natural log of 10. And now, what we're really looking for, though, is the dy dx equals something. So we have to move that 1 over y, multiply both sides by y, and we're going to end up with this kind of thing. Dy dx equals y times the natural log of 10. And the last step is to say, look, we don't really want the y there. We want x's. And so the last step is just to replace the y with what y is. Well, y equals 10 to the x, right, in the simplified version. We're just looking at the first term here. So replace y with 10 to the x, and what you get is dy dx equals 10 to the x times the natural log of 10. Now, what's the general rule then? You can kind of see the pattern here of what we did. The general rule is if you have an exponential function here, like 10 to the x, then the derivative of something like this, dy dx, this is how you see it written in like a textbook, of k, some constant to the x, equals k to the x, the same thing, times the natural log of the constant, the natural log of k. Very simple. This is Berkey Academy signing up. Have fun with your calculus, guys.